everyone, it's Meg, and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my top 5 favourite UK authors. This is a video I've been wanting to film for so long, but I have finally got 5 amazing UK authors that I want to talk to you guys about. Reading UK literature or by UK authors, whether it's YA, young adult, is something that I really want to start doing more of this year, and just supporting authors from my country in general, because I do read quite a lot of YA literature that is American, and there's nothing wrong with that, and I really enjoy a lot of those books, but I feel like also a lot of the books that I recommended on BookTube are mainly kind of American authors, not as many seem to be UK. So I have accumulated 5 authors from the UK that I love so dearly, and I'm basically going to talk to you guys about why I love them so much. All of these authors are YA authors, apart from one, which is my first book, but I'm really excited to finally film this video for you guys today, and hopefully in the future I'll be able to do a part 2 for this, as obviously I read more authors, because there are definitely some more that I want to get to, hopefully within the next year. But yes, I'm so excited to finally film this video, so without further ado, let's get into the video. So firstly, I am going to start with the only adult author that is on this list, and that is Sarah Winman. You guys should know by now how much I love Sarah. I love her books. These are all of her books. So we have her debut, which is When God Was a Rabbit. We have Year of Marvellous Ways, which is her second book, and Tin Man, which is her most recent book. And we have not had yet another one since, but I love her so much. I came across Sarah at the beginning of 2018, I believe, and I read Year of Marvellous Ways because I borrowed it off my godmother, and I fell in love with her writing, and that is something that stuck with me from the beginning, which is why I love her books so much. Her books are very much, I'd say, magical realism, specifically the first 2. I wouldn't really say Tin Man is sort of magical realism. It's quite different to her first 2 books. But Sarah's writing is absolutely exquisite. It is so beautiful and lyrical. Like, if you are into beautiful writing, you are absolutely going to adore her books. I also love the stories and the characters that are in here. Like, God Was a Rabbit is kind of about family and all different forms of love. And then Year of Marvellous Ways is, again, it's about like friendships, it's about stories, and Tin Man, I must admit, was my least favourite. I'm not a massive fan, but I love her first 2 books, and I just love her writing and how immersive it is, and the characters that she creates and the history behind them, their story, and that is why I love her books so much. And we've not had another book from her since Tin Man, which was maybe 2018, maybe when it came out. So I hope we get another book by her at some point soon, because I really enjoy her novels. And if you are still reading YA but you want to read more adult fiction, I feel like Sarah's books are a wonderful way, because again, they're kind of non-specific. Obviously they are about older characters, but specifically God Was a Rabbit, half of the book is told from the perspective of our main character when she was a child, and then the second half of the book is when she's in her 20s. So I feel like they're books that you can read whether you are a YA reader or an adult reader. They are books for everybody. I absolutely adore them, and again, 100% recommend you go and check out her work. Now we are on to the YA authors, and first up we have Alice Oseman. Alice Oseman is a very loved author here in the UK and across the world. She is very well known for the Heartstopper volumes, which I have all 3 of. I've read all of them and absolutely adore. And I feel like her most famous or most loved novel at the moment is Radio Silence. And personally, this is my favourite novel of hers I've read. The only novel of hers I haven't read is Solitaire, and she's just a wonderful author. I love the topics that Alice discusses, as A Heartstopper is a really cute graphic novel about 2 boys falling in love for the first time, and then the 3rd volume does actually deal with some deeper topics and discussions, which I really enjoy, kind of the new element of that in it. And then all of her books in general, and generally deal with mental health and LGBTQ plus rep, which is amazing. And specifically, radio science is one of the main things about this, is that it's about the education system and kind of like that path that society sets out for us about getting good grades, going to a good university, getting a good job, raising a family, all that sort of thing. And I have read I Was Born for This, which is on my shelf, and I did enjoy that, and that is about a band and it's about fandom, and I'm not really sure what Solitaire is about because I haven't read it yet, but I love her writing so much. It's very easy to get into, it's also very funny, and I noticed that, obviously because she's a British author, but there's like little bits that are snuck in here, like Wetherspoons and Sainsbury's, and I guess it's just because I read quite a lot of YA that is by American authors. We get used to kind of the bars and the shops and all the terminology that they use, but it's really refreshing reading Alice's work, and I just think she's so wonderful. And she's got a new book called Loveless coming out later on this year, which I'm so excited for, and she's just a wonderful author who does such a good job at handling so many different topics, especially ones that are dealing with mental health and obviously that with the education, but she also knows how to make your heart feel so warm and fuzzy at the same time, and her books are just wonderful. So again, quite a few of you have probably heard of her, but if not, 100% recommend picking up her books. Next up, we have an author who I have not stopped talking about since I discovered her books last summer, and this will be no surprise if you are a regular watcher of my videos, and that is Laura Wood. Laura Wood is like, she might be my favourite author on this list. Like, that's really hard to say, but like her books are just, they are chef's kiss. They are so freaking good. Laura is actually a middle grade author, and she came out with her debut for YA, which is Sky Painted Gold, in 2018, I believe, and her second YA novel, Under a Dancing Star, came out last year, and like I devoured these books. Number one, covers are stunning, and the thing that I noticed most about these books, especially in the prologue for A Sky Painted Gold, is how immersive her writing is. It was like a hug, a warm hug, when I read the first page of this book, and that is just absolutely wonderful. Her writing is beautiful. I love how descriptive it is. You feel like you are with these characters in these stories, experiencing what they are experiencing. And I love that. Like, that is one of my favourite things about Laura's books. I also love the stories. They are both historical fiction again, which is something that I'm not generally a reader of, but A Sky Painted Gold is set in the 1920s, and this follows a girl named Lou who lives in Cornwall, and there is an island with a grand house on it, and she meets the siblings who live there, and it's about her summer lit with these kaiju siblings. And Under a Dancing Star is set in the 1930s, which is just before World War II, and it follows a girl named Bee who goes to live with her uncle in the Italian countryside for the summer, and these are so wonderful. They are both romances as well, but the romances are so wonderful. They are so angsty and just wonderful. Towards the end of the books, you want to tear your heart out because you don't know what is going to happen. And you get so attached to the characters, and even though they are both romance novels, they also have a really wonderful message about obviously women of that time and kind of learning to find their own way in their own careers and building a life for themselves, not just concentrating on like marriage and relationships. And I really, really love that. And especially I feel like Under a Dancing Star I maybe like a tiny bit more, but this is also a very, very funny book, and the characters you get so connected to so easily, and I could talk about them forever. Like, I have not stopped thinking about these books since I read them in like August, I think was when I was reading them. July, August was when I started reading these. So please go and pick these books up if you have not already. I cannot wait for when Laura comes out with another book. I don't know when she is going to come out with another book. Like, I hope soon. I think she's writing another middle grade novel right now, but I love her books with all of my heart. So please go and pick them up if you haven't already. Like, I will never stop gushing about them. and I love them so, so much. Next up we have another very well loved and respected UKYA author, and that is Holly Bourne. Holly Bourne is an author I've always wanted to read her books by, but I didn't start reading them until last year. The first book I read of hers was Williamson Snowflakes, which was her most recent release back then, and I did really enjoy it. And then this is the second book that I've read by hers, A Places I Cried in Public, which is at the moment her most recent release. And so far this is the one that I enjoyed most out of the two, and Holly deals with some really tough and important topics in her books, such as toxic relationships, which is what this book covers, and mental health, which is what Lemons and Snowflakes covers, and also feminism as well is a big part of quite a few of her novels, especially the Spinster trilogy, which I have somewhere on my bookshelves that I also really want to get to. But I just love everything that Holly writes, and again, they're books that are very easy to read, even though some of the topics that she discusses are quite hard-hitting and very important. It is still, her writing style is just so easy to get into. They are quick reads, and I feel like they're very important books no matter what your age to read, as I feel like you learn a lot about certain subjects. And especially this book, Places I Cried in Public, I've never read a book about toxic relationships before, so this was really eye-opening for me, and that was what I loved so much about it. Even though it was really hard to read at some times, it was a very important and eye-opening read, which is what I really appreciated about that. And just in general, Holly just seems like an absolutely wonderful person. She also has an adult novel which is called How Do You Like Me Now, which I really want to read, and she's got a new adult novel that is coming out this month, from when I'm filming this video, in March I believe. So she's got so many books coming out. She's a very respected and well-loved author here in the UK, and I don't know how popular she is in the rest of the world, but I think she is just so wonderful, and I want to read as many of her books as possible because I love her work so much and I respect her so much as a writer, and she's just wonderful. So if you haven't picked up any of Holly's work yet, I 100% recommend you go and do so. She is an absolutely wonderful, wonderful author. So yes, she's absolutely wonderful, and definitely recommend going and checking her out if you haven't already. And the final author that I have on this list is Lisa Williamson. Lisa is an author that I actually discovered quite a while ago, back in 2016, when her debut, The Art of Being Normal, came out. And I read it pretty soon after the release date, and I really enjoyed it. It is basically about our trans main character, and that was something that I'd never read about before back in 2016. And so this was really eye-opening and educational and a very important read. And back in January I picked up It's All About Mia, and this was her second novel, and again this is a wonderful book that I really enjoyed. And Lisa also has a book called Paper Avalanche, something along those lines, which I haven't read. I don't know how interested I am in reading it, but she has another book also coming out very soon this year. And Lisa's books again are books that are so easy to get into. I really enjoy her writing. It's not difficult to understand, but it gets a point across, which I really enjoy. And they're again books that discuss important topics. And then obviously All About Mia is kind of about it's a coming of age story. It's about sisterhood and family and finding your place in the world and learning to believe in yourself. And I really enjoy both of these books, and I feel like Lisa talks about the topics in these books in a very clear and easy but impactful way at the same time, and you really get to feel for her characters, as you don't always know what is going to happen, and you learn to root for them no matter their imperfections. And I love the messages that these books have as well. And she's a wonderful author. I cannot wait for more of her books in the future. I'm sure I'm going to absolutely love them. And again, make sure you go and check out her work. Again, if you're especially looking for kind of like coming of age or kind of finding yourself sort of stories, I feel like these are books that you should definitely look into. And obviously with all of these wonderful authors, I do definitely recommend you pick up her books as well. So that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, hearing me talk about some of my favourite UK authors. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I would love to do a part 2 of this eventually, as there's so many more authors that I need to discover who are UKYA, and I cannot wait to read their books eventually. There's a couple on my list that I want to read this year, so maybe at some point you guys can discover a part 2 at some point. Let me know in the comments some of your favourite UK authors. Are there any that I have mentioned here that you also really enjoy, or maybe someone that I have not read yet but you really love? And also what your favourite books from them. I would love to know as always. If you like this video, then please make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more bookish videos from me, then make sure you hit the subscribe button and little bell icon so you'll be noted every time I post a new video. As always, I will leave links to my social media along with the links to my Goodreads in the description down below for you guys. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you again very soon. Bye!